Alright, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. Let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex Games. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Food fam. I'm just fine.
Sorry, you guys, it's about 100 degrees in here. In the Northwest, we had just the craziest, orange, fiery day here. But it feels like everything is on fire right now. Speaking of which, you can find a bibliography of all of the craziness that we have added into today's show. You have full bibliography over at marfooglenews.com. This is Red Alert. Is right there in the coming hours, extreme scenes. When you go and click on the actual thumbnail on our website, it's very easy to navigate. You will find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we are going to show you here today, plus a whole lot more. Plus, if anything breaks during the show, we will end up adding that to it. So, let's get into it. As far as Dex, there's a lot of thoughts happening about why they're moving ships around and why they're doing this, but we have actually noticed quietly they've been moving stuff, and we actually said there was Fugu family members that were telling us that there were troops heading to the Middle East. We actually told you guys, hey, something is about to go down. This was a month ago. This was when, at the time, for about a 4-day period, there was actually nothing going on, and that is when we heard about all of these troop movements and about all of these ships and Navy deploying. So, and again, most of these end up being public, so we're not sinking ships here. Either way, the entire world has satellites and they're watching the whole thing anyways. But why don't you go over what Iran Observer said about this? And this is, again, this is how they're kind of taking it, and this tweet by the Iran Observer.
Yeah, this tweet specifically is saying, let me just see which one you're on, sorry. This one is talking about the aircraft carrier withdrawing from the Persian Gulf. So if we go back to that map that we showed you, the Roosevelt is sitting in the Persian Gulf. That was approximately on the 29th. That's the USNI ship tracker. They use different bits of public information to sort of tell people this is what we know at the time where these ships are. Now, they're saying that at this point they've seen, at least that's what the Iran Observer is saying, that they've seen the withdrawal of that ship out of the Persian Gulf into the Indian Ocean. So it's obviously pulled out. Now that coincides now with the DoD coming out and saying, well, we're going to replace it with Abraham Lincoln. It's interesting, though, to think about that, right? If we have a carrier strike group sitting right up against the edge of Iran, and we are being told, and they have all this intel that's saying, as we'll talk about tonight, that it's about to happen, why are they pulling out? Abraham Lincoln is sitting over in the Pacific, and even if it falls butt, it'll be another day or two before he gets there. It may have already started a few days ago on its way there, I don't know, but nonetheless, why are they pulling out? So there's a lot of speculation on that, and you can, as you said earlier, Adam, what happens if it is such a big envoy from Iran that they do something crazy like put up 300 or 400 ships against the carrier strike group, and then we have a hard time dealing with that. I don't know. So we'll see what's going to happen. This is important to pay attention to, and that's what they're reporting on Twitter. But what we're seeing from Lincoln or from the DoD
Now
kind of coincides, but it also makes you wonder.
Now, also, as we know that Iran is working extremely close with not only Russia, with North Korea, and with China. China, over the last 6 months, has been talking about this low Earth satellite system that just 8 of these items, these low Earth satellites, could actually knock out the radar for our carriers. They can actually knock out the radar for all of our Navy, and they're saying that 32 could knock out globally all of the radars and communications or different things that essentially their first warning systems, everything that protects them. Now, these carriers never go alone. They go with these strike groups. These strike groups essentially protect them. Now, that's because they're basically a giant target. Well, they always have these defensive systems. Now, if you knock out those defensive systems, or if you just make them null and void, then yeah, these are basically sitting ducks. Now, I think it's very odd that Russia has launched several things into space, including a specific rocket that actually released several items into space, and we don't know exactly what they are. Not to mention, there's been all of this talk over the last year of all of these items being released from these top secret payloads. And on top of that, back when we talked about this a few months ago, Russia ended up launching a missile on Valentine's Day, I believe, or no, it was on the 9th of February, and on 14th of February, one of our basically representatives came out and said, hey, they just launched something really bad. The public needs to be told. I don't want anybody to panic, but this needs to be declassified right now. America deserves to know we're endangered. All of this, and everybody's like, whoa, the government's saying don't panic. We're panicked. So they ended up saying a little bit more, and then they ended up talking about nukes in space. Now, could that also be the items that they were talking about in China, the system that could actually knock out all of the defensive systems? If those work in unison with that, maybe that is why some of this stuff is going on. What if they give the technology to Iran? What if they help Iran? What if this was the kickoff of the big one, where China takes Taiwan, Venezuela takes, by the way, Venezuela is right at the cusp of switching over. If they were going to take Guyana like they voted to do, they might be doing it now. Where we said we would back up Guyana, we said we would back up South Korea, we said we'd back up, of course, Ukraine, we are. And then, of course, Japan is now all of a sudden militarized. Like, all of these countries that are normally neutral or self-defense only, they are now fully militarized. And people think there's not going to be a war. I think that's absolutely nuts. But as far as if this all kicks off, think about China, giving them the technology. This all ends up popping off at the same time. I thought it was going to be North Korea, but it very well could be the Middle East. That was my second guess. And I sure hope that that is not the case. Now, of course, we have U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit strategic bomber allegedly arrived at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Now, looking almost like a UFO, they essentially said that you've got a B-2 Spirit with a strategic bomber capable of carrying nuclear weapons has arrived in Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar amid red-hot tensions between Iran and Israel. They're questioning, Civil Defense News is questioning U.S. preparing to nuke Tehran. Well, again, there's more news that actually fits into this. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, and in addition to, I think it's further down on the U.S. CDN news there that you have, there might be another image that shows the refueler in there. The refueler, I don't know if it would be for the B-2, but it would also possibly be for the fighters that, if that B-2 was flying, that were probably escorting, especially through these territories, like the either F-22s or F-35s. So there's, nonetheless, all of this is speculation at the moment, but the video we just showed you in the tab before is one that somebody captured and said, hey, this looks like it could be a B-2. And then we've got other people reporting it as well. None of this has been verified. So he treated it all as alleged, but then you also have, you know, the refueler around Qatar too at the same time when this is all happening. So you can connect some dots here and give a little bit of validity to what's, or there's a possibility that what's being reported is happening, especially given all the movement that's going on.
I also want to point out, a lot of folks are talking about this, a lot of people are sharing the possible Resolution 106, a joint resolution to authorize the use of the United States Armed Forces against Islamic Republic of Iran for threatening the national security of the United States through the development of nuclear weapons, which we will get to. They are actually saying a certain claim here, so we'll talk about that here in just a second. But yeah, and that's Lindsey Graham that is supposedly putting that through. Right now, information is just going absolutely nuts. And then we have, of course, Iranian state TV says, in coming hours, the world will witness extraordinary scenes and very important developments. Dex, do you want to go over, basically, the Ayatollah has said a lot of things over the last few days, and we talked about this, that everybody kind of goes, well, they always threaten, they always put out videos saying, oh, this guy's going to do this and that. Was their red line crossed?
At this point, I don't think it matters that they said things before and they're saying them now. I think what matters is that you're starting to see Not only because they've already started to do preemptive things because they're assuming it's about to happen. You now have the United States making major moves. We're talking moving a carrier out, bringing another one in, shifting resources, and potentially flying in lots of assets, all being scrambled right at the same time. They don't do that just because somebody's saber rattling their chest beating over in Tehran, because that kind of stuff happens all the time. It's based on intel, and it's based on the movement of equipment and gear that the other groups that are associated and funded by Iran are doing, and they're seeing that, and they're getting that information, they're getting that intel, and they know that this is actually beefing up and about to happen. So these words, as much as everyone says, "Oh, it's probably just saber rattling," I think this time it probably isn't, because we wouldn't see the reaction that's happening with our government.
A great comment by Stephen McMahon. And remember, some people think, oh, this is all part of a show. I don't ever want to buy tickets to that show, but again, even if this was, this is something that some people, oh, they're going to use this to take away from what's happening in a few months. Okay, either way, I think that they at this point would pull the trigger on that. If that was the case, if they were going to do something like that, this is when it would go down. This is what we've all predicted. Not only us, our peers, our community has seen this from a million miles away. There were so many signs all in front of us, and so many of our peers, all of our friends and family have seen all this going on, and they chose to put their head in the sand. Stephen May says, has anybody considered that in the case of war, our government will shut down the internet for national security? Absolutely. And I believe there's some fine print in several different pieces of legislation. I believe that there's been plans as far as if a disaster happens, they have contingency plans. And it may sound crazy to do that, but that's actually something that they could say they have to do because they can't control it, or something is getting out, or they don't want the wrong information to get out, or they're trying to protect us from panic, or this or that. The global IT outage, I don't think that was nothing. I don't think Solar Winds was nothing. I don't think that the Microsoft 365 was nothing. The DDoS attacks, I don't think that the hospitals, the pharmacies going down, the EBT, all of these things. Social medias across the world, even though they have systems set up to where one would go down and the other would be separated, all of them went down at one point or another in the last 2 years. All of them had these outages, and this was global. Everything that's happened now, if you haven't noticed, in the last 3 years, we've had more global outages put out in front of it than anything I've ever covered before. I mean, think about it. It used to be, 18 states lost this, or 4 states lost this. Now, almost everything that's coming out says it went out globally. How does that happen? Isn't there redundancies? Isn't there things to put in place of that? The IT outage that knocked out banks, transportation, people waited at airports for a week, that knocked out ATMs, that knocked out communications, that knocked out, in some cases, cell towers and things because the computers running them were frozen. There were so many more that I'm even forgetting. The gold prices going up. That IT outage totally sent people into a worry as well. That IT outage, they said, was an update. Well, that update wasn't rolled out before to a small group of businesses so they could test it. Nope, it was rolled out to everything. And they're saying, just like the Hawaiian missile crisis, which I also don't fully believe, I think something massive went down and that they used the red phone or something happened. With that, it's like they told us that, they pushed the wrong button. They didn't push the wrong button. It was a drop-down menu. They were warned. They're like, are you absolutely, positively, expialidocious sure that you're going to push that button? And the guy was like, yes, I think it's real. But again, this is all happening so fast. It's incredible. It is incredible. Ogle Turan, thank you for the support. I'm trying to spend as little time on these as possible. Upper Deck Guy, thank you. Upper Deck Guys, thank you. I appreciate the support. And Stephen McMahon, Tisha B'Av, the 12th, 13th August is the date of destruction for both the temples and Ayatollah strikes then. I don't know. I'm not going to claim I know when anything's going to happen, but right now, I'm pretty sure that in the next next 2-3 months, we're going to see all sorts of things go down. So, and then before we talk about, they're talking about rumors that the U.S. and IDF forces are preparing a preemptive strike. I want to remind you guys, there is a way that you can protect your cars, trucks, motorcycles, and boats against EMP strikes and a Carrington level event from the sun. Go over and check it out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. We've been telling you guys about these for years. This is a device that anybody, and I mean anybody, can put in about 10 minutes into their cars to make sure that they run so you can get home or you can get out to bug out. It works by grounding the signal before it could fry your device in less than 500 trillionths of a second. Trillions of a second. DOD, DHS has used EMP Shield. They've even mentioned them in the Department of Homeland Security's EMP Resilience Report in 2018. That same report where they told us we need 6 months to a year of food at minimum. They warned us about EMP. Everybody kind of poo-poos it off, but it is one of the most prevalent threats against our country because all of our adversaries have it. Even now, smaller groups have some sort of EMP capabilities, which we covered yesterday. But this can protect not only that, generators, solar generators in the case of the Energy Flex Tactical Flex 1500, and then it can also protect your home. If you get it wired into your home, it can actually protect within 150 linear feet of where it's wired in, which is most houses. So, again, go check it out, and I believe that's 250 feet. I apologize. Use the code MARF, save $50 off per device, and you're helping our independent channel, which we are completely honoring, so thank you guys for doing so. Dex, do you want to talk about this tweet by U.S. Civil Defense News? What people are talking about, the rumors that are spreading.
Yeah, so I kind of alluded to it earlier. They're suggesting now that the IDF forces are actually going to be doing preemptive. So that's how much intel they have. They're seeing activity and actions happening that they're able to actually take preemptive strikes against Iran before Iran even makes their strike against them. So that's what we're starting to see. This was sort of the warning, or at least the rumor that had come out saying that that was going to happen. And then I think we actually, the next piece of information is a potential piece that shows it did happen, or it started to happen. So it sort of backs up the fact that some were suggesting they were doing this, and then now we're seeing that they have launched different types of attacks in different areas already, they being the IDF.
So we are actually seeing some of these things possibly go down. And then OSINT Defender, a convoy of trucks carrying weapons and munitions from Syria to Lebanon for Iranian-backed forces, was struck earlier in the Qom Valley of eastern Lebanon by several IDF airstrikes. So you can watch the video over on marfooglenews.com. We've attached all of these tweets so you can actually go, zoom in, investigate them for yourselves. But when you look at this, you're obviously seeing that there is action that's happening, or at least that is what they're saying. And what they're saying, usually they tell us, and then they say, hey, this is our response, or this is their response. So we'll see what ends up going on with that. And then we have some air traffic here. Do you want to talk about Gunnery Sergeant Jesse Jane Duff's tweet about the military executive jet that we had here?
Yeah, so here's somebody, one of the trackers, pulling and saying that this was a military executive jet and it landing and retreating out of Tel Aviv. Of course, the assumption is, and I want to make sure to clarify that because this is not anything that's necessarily been reported, that it was evacuating or potentially pulling out anyone or bringing anyone out of that area for the U.S. using that jet. So seeing this type of activity, again, is another indicator. When you see something like this come in and come out, I mean, sure, it could be somebody coming in to visit or do whatever, but you've got all this other tension built up. You've got military moving in, you've got ships repositioning, you've got everybody saying it's about to go down. When you see these kind of planes come in and come out, you know they're probably pulling people out, important people that have the support of the military to do that.
Is their top one? Is that the call sign? Poker 45? And then Iran Wi-Fi attack reported collapse as hackers strike. So here's one thing to point out. If they're going towards cyber attacks, then retaliations are going to be cyber attacks. That will, if there's a cyber attack on them, then that means that they're going to get their cyber up and running, and the engine's going to get started. Again, the renowned hacking group claimed credit for taking Iranian internet providers out ahead of social media reports overnight that internet access was down in parts of the country. Quote, in the next few minutes, we will attack systems and internet providers in Iran. We read Evil's posted on Telegram Thursday evening. It says, Muslim Post reported the collapse of Wi-Fi networks with many comments in Iran, from users saying that they had heard the internet was down in parts of the country and that there were internet blackouts in certain parts of Tehran. Like Stephen McMahon just said, this is the same for them. If you were in their country and you're a citizen of their country, you're thinking, man, they're going to knock out our internet. They're going to knock out our power. So when you see stuff like that happen, there's probably a contingency plan to retaliate. And who are they going to retaliate against? Well, almost in every event, they have always said, well, we're not only going after you, but we're going after you. So that's why people should have their head on a swivel and be prepared for what so many of us have been saying for absolutely years. And there's guaranteed going to be people around you that go, oh, sure, it's another emergency. Just wait. How many signs do you need? I mean, like, it's too many to count. So that being said, it's this quote, we successfully broke into Iranian communication systems and collected a lot of information that was passed on to security forces in Israel. We know that there were some Iranians here who support the Revolutionary Guards or the IRGC, and we would like to contact them personally. Stop raising the red flags and start raising a white flag. So these are some fighting words. By the red flags, we're talking about the revenge flag, right? So, yeah. And then Dex, do you want to talk about the plans to attack, of course, Israel on Tisha B'Av, of course, what Stephen McMahon was just mentioning?
Yeah. So, and by the way, I just want to add, when you think about conflict, cyber is a different dynamic. Okay. So it's something that we haven't. Go back to Vietnam, we didn't have that. You go back to the Gulf, we really didn't have much of anything like that. There was some electronic stuff, but yeah. So this is a new modern day of conflict. At the same time, we need to be vigilant here, thinking about the fact of who we're potentially going to be the ire of in this conflict, and what they have done and who they have put into our country, because they fight in a different way, so to speak. They don't. That it's not just going to be something out on the water with the navies and the planes and the land and all that, and then the soldiers. If it gets to that point, there are other tactics, and those tactics that they use can easily be something that would be in our public spaces, and that's a scary thought. But at the same time, we need to, as preppers, we need to be prepared for that. We need to think about that, and make sure we don't just dismiss it. Oh, that's happening on the other side of the world. Yeah, it stinks, but no, it's an issue here. Now, as it relates, Adam, to Tisha B'Av, this is the first day of disasters. Okay, it's a special holiday, and the Western intelligence is saying that is the day that they're going to actually start, which I guess is why we're seeing all this preemption that's happening beforehand. Now, mind you, this day actually starts August 12th, so that's about 10 days from now, maybe 9 days from now, depending on which time zone you're in. So that's still coming up, but I don't know if it's going to take that long, because we've heard them say within hours. So that could be, I'm thinking 24, 48, 72. But we'll see. That's what they're suggesting here.
Please go to the Marfoogle TV to see the rest of this video. It does go to 52 minutes and 52 seconds. I have played 29 minutes and 09 seconds. Have a blessed day and pray for the world. Be safe out there. If no one loves you, Jesus will. Have a great night.